A very good afternoon to you all. This is my group and we have a discussion we'd like to portray to you guys. So often on Facebook, on social media as a whole, not necessarily Facebook, we see terms such as senior bae, minister of finance, big daddy being thrown around by young girls. And the origins of these terms are such that young girls use them to call their older partners. If you're dating a guy who's a bit older than you, you'd find that young girls tend to call them such names. You see such things all over, be it in conversations you hear of in comedies, be it on Facebook, etc. So today what we'd like to look into is the depth and meaning of age gap relationships today amongst us as young people. And to us as a panel, what we deem a significant age gap between people who deem themselves in a relationship or in love is 10 years plus. We'd like to take a deep look into the meaning of these relationships. Are they genuinely motivated by love? Are young girls with older men because they love them, because they love the way they are, because they love the people they are? Or are they with them because of the things they have? Are young girls with these men because they like the cars they drive, they like the cool gadgets they have, and they like the fact that they can take them to places they've never been? Are young girls seeing older men because they are truly motivated by love? Or is it motivated by the desire to get gain? I'd like to take this question to my panel now and ask them what they think about this.
Okay, my name is Gabo, and I was reading up on this topic, age gap relationship. Like she said, age gap relationships are when there's a significant age difference between the two people in that relationship. And I read an article written by Kim Olva. So Kim Olva is a relationship guru, and she has written a book called The Secret of Being Happy, Loving Yourself, Loving Your Partner, and Your Life. And she argues that young women are more interested in making a connection, an emotional connection. And I kind of agree with her because these age gap relationships are not only transactional, because you find that, like she says, young women need an emotional connection that usually the counterparts, the young men similar age to them, don't give, as opposed to an older man. An older man is more established, he's wiser, he's learned from his mistakes as a young man. And so this is what is attractive about them. So I agree with Kim Olva in saying that these young men are looking for something more stable, something more mature, something more solid. And so I would say that yes, these can be true love relationships, although there's a significant age difference.
Very interesting. Thank you.
I acknowledge your point, but I beg to differ on it. Let's first consider the accolades of these older men. They're usually from a corporate background, well-established guys with money who drive very expensive cars, luxurious cars. You'll never see a younger girl with a good schools, let's say example in UB, with a taxi driver, for example. He's an older man, he's established, he has a business, he's grown up, he's mature, he's learned from his mistakes, but you never see young girls going for that kind of gentleman. You see them going for these guys, CEOs, and all that. Therefore, if you saying that they're looking for, solely looking for emotional connections, I beg to differ on that one. You're actually looking at the financial stability of this particular person, hence the well-establishedness of that person.
It's very interesting. You can tell that there's such a thin line between them, between love and between monetary desire. So it's very sensitive. Lindy.
And thank you. In addition to Kata's point, I appreciate your evidence. There's a study that was carried out to indicate that a lot of women, a lot of these kind of relationships, you'll find out women are not emotionally driven. They are seeking for physical things, material things, tangible things. And you can discover that some women will only fall for a man because of the way he's dressing, the way he smells, and the cologne he wears and stuff. It's not entirely looking for affection and looking for love.
I'd like to hear another guy's point.
I would like to acknowledge your point that I beg to differ also, because you know it's scientifically proven that women mature earlier than men, than boys. So they would want to be in a relationship with someone who is on the same level of maturity. So they would seek someone who's older because they want stability. And stability doesn't mean monetary, it can be psychological. You want someone who, if you're not psychologically stable, you want someone who will tame you and direct you in the right path. So someone who's of a right or significant age would give you the right path as they went through it. You understand? You don't have to make the same mistake with the same person.
So it's so deep. There's maturity, there's connection, there's psychology. It's so in depth.
I hear what you're saying, Gianluca, but then there's the question that how stable and how mature is a man that is going to date a girl that is 10 years younger than him? There's a reason why he didn't make it with women that are his own age. So I feel like in the end, it's not even about stability or an emotional connection. We're both looking for something to gain.
And to me, with that being said, why is it that a lot of girls who fall for these men, they end up sort of trapped in that kind of lifestyle? They end up sacrificing their own goals. They end up losing the real life that they want to pursue, or that independence and that self-reliance. Because there's this other article in which a man was dating this woman. The man was married and he was taking care of everything. The rent, the hair, the nails, and everything. And then later on, he told the lady that, I'm married, I'm not even planning on divorcing my wife. But I so much want to be with you, baby. I so want to spend the rest of my life with you. But I'm not divorcing my wife. And then I can tell the secretary to take care of all the expenses, to see to it that you are comfortable. And then this young woman, because she's looking for material things and this kind of support, and maybe to a certain extent, love. It was, to me, as a feminist, as an independent woman, I think somehow that man was sort of dictating that woman's life, that young lady's life. He was sort of taking control, and he would be the one, maybe I'm going to Joburg next month, I'm going for a trip, whatever, and the woman would abide. What is that?
That is a very good point, Lindsay. But I would like to look at it this way. Charles Darwin, he wrote a book on origin of species, and in it he talks about natural selection. He talks about how in any species, right, the female would look to partner up with the most dominant male, the one that will sire healthy, strong, and adapted hybrid kind of offspring. And I think as women, especially younger women, the ones that are in college like us, we're also looking for that kind of alpha male. And it's unfortunate that we don't see the alpha male in a taxi driver or in my classmates. So I'm looking for those signs of it. When you look at it in the natural and raw sense, the lioness would look at the male lion that won the fight in the pack. And what about when it comes to men? What is it I can see that this is an alpha male? Maybe I can see him from the car he drives. Maybe I see it in the kind of shoes that he wears, in the cologne that he wears, the way it smells. That is what signals to my instincts that this is an alpha male. And that's why I'm going there, because I want security. I want to know that I'll be well taken care of. And so that is why I will go for that person instead of the dresser on the
That's
party.
true. I think you bring a very fresh perspective to it, because now that you said, I'm thinking, if you guys are my colleagues here, and for instance, I meet a guy today, he tells me I like you, and he happens to be the CEO in Orange. The following day I meet a guy, he meets me, I like him, he happens to own a couple of tuck shops in Block 8. You know, what's wrong with me choosing the CEO? At the end of the day, I want a better life. We're all trying to prosper in life. What's wrong with me trying to pair with the CEO other than the guy who owns a chain of tuck shops? I think that's a very fresh perspective. I don't know who to choose, but Kata, yes.
I appreciate that point, Gabo, but it would be redundant to actually ignore the fact that children today, you're talking about a woman looking for a man to give her healthy children from a stable family. it would be redundant to ignore the fact that these children are used as tools in order to trap these men into such relationships whereby he has to provide for you as a woman, to support you financially. And you find that in most cases, most established women do not go for those type of women, those women who already have found that route. Usually you find that women who are, let's say, dependent. For example, let's say like referring back to tertiary students. You know that once you're usually using kids to trap a man into some kind of a relationship whereby he has to keep on providing. And then that way she sustains herself from the money that this man gives to the child. So yes, it's a bit of a tricky ground, to be honest.
I'd like to acknowledge all your ideas, but you know, there's studies on perception, and you know we all have different perceptions. And then the studies where Tversky and Cunningham, 1981, they have this concept called the framing effect. It's where we all have different perceptions on one thing. It doesn't have to be altered, it doesn't have to be significantly accustomed to anyone's best suit. But then benefits have different values to people. People can see a benefit, Lily can see a benefit as nails. Gabo can see a benefit as soup. You can see a benefit as lip gloss. And then Gabo can see a benefit as affection and attention. So in that sense, a lot of people like, they like looking at this and saying that young girls go to older men or age gap relationships, go into age gap relationships for money, and they don't differentiate it from prostitution. In that fact, if change in sexual favors with a person looking for benefits, since I clarified that values are perceived differently, then in that context, doesn't it mean that we're all practicing prostitution? Because my benefit might be having a sexual favor with my partner because I want that attention and affection. What then is that? It doesn't differentiate from anyone. So it's real love. You don't have, love isn't biased. You know, it doesn't choose social status, age, or gender.
It's very interesting because that way you begin to wonder, you know, with all that's been said and all that we've done in terms of our research, you might wonder, does this mean that there could be possibly a new breed of prostitution? For a long time, we've been seeing prostitution as that woman who stands by the road, Gucci mist, and stops the cars or whatever. But with what we've heard here, it could be that there could be a new breed of prostitution in that young ladies maybe target older men in sole hope and in sole desire of getting back something. And that indeed is a transaction, just like prostitution. Exactly. Just like the girl who stands by the road. So we'd like to hear what the class thinks. Yeah. What you feel about this, what you've heard, any experiences you've heard or seen in terms of this, and if you do think that possibly in a way prostitution could have a new face, and that is these age gap relationships amongst them. So the floor is open to any and everybody. All right, well, in that regards, what we've discussed just basically boils down to that. Yes, some age gap relationships are truly, honestly, and genuinely motivated by love. He may be older and I may be attracted to him because of his fashion sense, the fact that he's wearing a burgundy blazer. You don't see any guy doing that, and he's a bit older. But then there are some who genuinely and honestly see an older guy and they're like, I want to be with that guy because he's the CEO of Orange or of Depswana. So basically, as a group, our consensus is that prostitution could change. We live in a very volatile, innovative, and changing world. We're saying that the face of prostitution could have a new facade to it. And that's just basically what our consensus is as a group. And it's a pity that nobody wants to air out what they think, because I think it's very interesting. But basically, that's our consensus as a group due to the absence of any comments and suggestions.
It's so funny. I thought males were gonna like tip them because these men are sort of a threat to them.
That guy has something to say about it.
I mean, also look at the fact that we all grew up differently. love someone who's younger, or you may be conditioned to love someone who's older. I mean, our parents grew up knowing that my boyfriend or my partner is older.